Today I'll be going over both versions of the game Nier, part of the Drakengard series, developed by Kavia and published by Square Enix. This game was released in 2 separate versions that tell the same story, with very little differences except for the player character. In Replicant, you play as a brother protecting your sister. In Gestalt, you play as a father protecting your daughter.
Dad.
To make this easier, I'll be referring to the characters as they are in NieR RepliCant. This game starts off with a snowstorm in the summer of 2053, where the main character, Nier, is fending off monsters known as Shades from attacking his deathly ill sister, Yona. After this brief prologue, the game cuts to 1,300 years later, where we see what appears to be the same brother and sister living in a small village built upon the ruins of an older but more advanced town. After adventuring for some time, you come across a giant, seemingly deserted castle, where you stumble upon a living book named Grimoire of Ice. This book has been told in legend to be able to cure a mysterious terminal disease called the Black Scrawl that has been infecting the townsfolk, including your sister. So the two set out on an adventure to collect all the sealed verses that Nier hopes will give Weiss the power to destroy this plague and save Yona. Along the way, they encounter the hot-tempered and foul-mouthed half-shade Kaine, and Emil, a blindfolded boy whose eyes petrify anyone they see, both of which eventually join Nier in his quest. Upon collecting the last sealed verse, they return to the town, only to find it being invaded by an army of shades led by the Shadow Lord, who's carrying his own book entitled the Grimoire Noir. The party fights to overcome a Colossus Shade and is somewhat victorious, however the battle ends in the Shadow Lord leaving, dragging Yona off with him. Though some aspects of this story might seem familiar at first, the second half of this game pulls a lot of punches and packs a lot of twists, and upon a second playthrough you might see the adventure from a completely different perspective, with your newfound knowledge of what's going on. As far as gameplay goes, Square Enix intended Nier as an action RPG for an older market than their series of the same genre, Kingdom Hearts. But Nier also takes influences from God of War, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy, simulation, and bullet hell games. For the action bits, you get 3 different types of weapons along with 8 different spells, all of which can be upgraded in a variety of ways. And even though you get 2 party members, they don't really do much damage or heal you much, as you're not as reliant on support as you would be in other games. This game can be a cakewalk on easy or normal, but there's a hard difficulty for those who want a bit more of a challenge. Side quests are also something I've heard a lot of complaints about. However, on your first playthrough, side quests seriously aren't that necessary and are more enjoyable when you've cleared the game. You see, how this game works as far as replayability is once you finish the story, you can replay the game starting at the halfway point. From here, you get additional dialogue, new cutscenes, and even different endings. This game has drawn some lukewarm reviews, mostly due to the game having some tedious moments and downright bizarre gameplay elements at times. I mean, to put it simply, this game kinda trolls the hell out of you, a thing most games created by Taro Yoko have been accused of. At one point, you get to a forest filled with people stuck in dreams, and you suddenly enter a very text-heavy, multiple-choice dialogue game. Or the game turns into a full-on bullet hell shoot-'em-up, or a 2D side-scroller, or you're following a 10-year-old through a sandstorm in the desert. Though these areas are honestly very small and take up very little time, but I can see where the casual gamer might get thrown for a loop. Though the graphics in this game are nothing cutting edge, I do feel like they do an excellent job at showing you a realistic look at the people within the world of Nier. People from different backgrounds, cultures, moral basis, and even sexual preferences. I mean, taking a look at our main characters, all of them have unique traits and often come off to others as rather strange. Nier, aside from small jobs, avoids anything that takes him away from his sister, often isolating himself from other villagers. Kaine is a hot-tempered, vulgar hermaphrodite that's out for blood. Emil has a heart of gold, even if he looks more like something akin to a horror film, and is one of very few gay characters in modern RPGs. Honestly, this game is more of an experience than anything else, and it's no wonder why fans of it just can't get enough. So in closing, Nier is a game with a unique cast of characters with a simple but enjoyable world and enchanting soundtrack. If you're interested in an offbeat, thought-provoking RPG with a complex story that'll have the nerd in you theorizing for weeks, this is definitely the game for you.